I'm doing well.
Where have you been?
You neglected me, so I was quiet home sleeping.
You mean the whole company neglected you?
Bella.
Me?
Bella neglected me. Yes.
Oh, how?
Oh.
It's not possible. But at least you slept, so you rested.
You don't check up on me.
Did you rest?
You do check up on me.
Oh, did you rest?
You didn't see me here. Did
because
you check
I thought you were
me?
going around campaigning for maybe Dr. Baumia or...
Yes, if I have the chance tomorrow morning, every day I'll campaign for Doctor.
Oh, you campaign for Doctor?
Definitely for
Doctor.
Doctor.
You think that he's the right one?
Definitely for Doctor.
Okay. The polls are not looking too good for him in terms of job creation. We'll come to that.
So they say.
So they say, but you don't believe so?
No.
I see. Well, also joining us this morning is Godwin Edudi Tamaklu.
Giving the confidence to even talk.
A lawyer and also a member of the NDC's legal team. Good morning, Counsel.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Oh, by God.
Actually, every week we see you.
Yes,
so
yes.
We know you're fine.
I've now become a regular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are glad to see you every morning anyway.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for joining. You had a good weekend?
Yes.
Okay.
But you know, for us as politicians, our weekends for social events. So I had to do a couple of them this weekend. Yeah.
Okay. Did you catch the video?
Anywhere?
No.
So this Saturday you are not part of?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you're not?
But I have too much interest.
In it?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything, you know.
Sam George?
Everybody.
Are you helping
Everybody.
And why are you more interested in Sam George in particular?
Well, I hear his place is tough, and I would wish he would get the nod.
You hope he wins?
Yeah,
okay.
He's a cool guy. He's a good guy. He's on the other side doesn't mean he's not good. He's good.
Yeah,
he's
of
doing
course.
well. So
of course.
People like that, we need to support them. That's whatever
Bella,
the case.
it was your day.
We are bringing a candidate.
It was your day on Saturday.
We are bringing a candidate who, uproot him from his place.
Oh, so you just want him to win the primary so that you can go and defeat him?
No, not at all.
In the elections?
Anybody they bring will defeat the person. This time is our time.
You are sure about that?
Yes.
You said that the last time.
They've kept that place for too long.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So that means maybe they are doing a good job?
No, it's not that they are doing a good job.
So what's the reason? What's the reason why people keep voting for them?
Oh, sometimes some people are traditionally
When was the last time you checked? When was the last time you checked the results?
They are traditionally into a particular
when was the last time?
Party, but gradually you can win them over. And I say, very soon.
Very soon?
Oh, very soon.
You mean 2024?
Oh, yeah.
Eh.
It could be 2024,
almost
2028.
20,000 votes difference.
Haven't you seen some before?
No.
Didn't you beat you by 1 million votes?
And we reduce it.
They reduced it by half.
What, half?
Half.
And go and check the Fourth Republic. Every president who comes in a second term, he cannot go more than even half. We did well by even having half.
Oh, okay. I see.
Go and check.
Let's see how that goes. But let's get into the conversation.
We can beat him by more than the rest.
And last week, we saw a series of exposés from the MP of North Tong, Honorable Sam Okudjeto Ablakwa, who is also a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee in Parliament. He's been doing some further digging about the National Cathedral, and that sent him to the United States of America, where he discovered quite a number of things. In fact, if you thought that the first and second exposés were large enough, he came out with a third one where he's making some accusations against the Secretariat, of course, against government as well, regarding what he calls, identity theft and how much has been raised by the National Cathedral of Ghana and the Bible Museum Foundation that was incorporated in the United States. In fact, he makes certain claims, and very shortly we'll speak to him on this matter, but he makes a claim about an IRS tax-exempt letter and an employment ID number for the cathedral, which he says is similar, and it belongs to someone who died about 9 years ago, one Jose Salgado. He was 31 years old, and we're told that he passed away in 2014, and he's making accusations against governments that they stole, in quote, the social security number of this person to incorporate the National Cathedral when they were registering it in the United States. And that's not the only one, quite a number of other things. And he's asking very pertinent questions, that the three names that were connected to the incorporation of the National Cathedral in the United States, how did Mr. Vernon Daku become the president of the board? How is he accountable to Ghanaians with regards to the monies that are being raised, and why is Parliament not aware of this? But I'll start off with Alfred on this matter. Of course, we've heard from the National Secretariat responding to the first exposé and then subsequently the second one as well. And maybe we can put up that statement briefly, and then after that we'll go into the conversation And so this was released on May 4 from the National Secretariat Office. And they said that following the publication of the Volume 1 of the so-called bombshells of the National Cathedral's activities in the USA, the MP for North Tongue and ranking member on Foreign Affairs in Ghana's Parliament, Honorable Sam Okudjeto Ablakwa, followed up with Episode 2 this morning, Thursday, May 4, 2023 at 6:09 a.m., titled Episode 2 of the National Cathedral Scandals, American Edition. It is prefaced once again by such lack of knowledge of the U.S. system. As a Ghanaian, I find it extremely embarrassing to see these expressed by the ranking member of the Foreign Affairs in the country's parliament. The main body of Episode 2, however, is the malicious accusation that the National Cathedral is guilty of the serious crime of identity theft in the registration of the National Cathedral Foundation in the USA. And very shortly, we'll project it so you can also read along with me. So in arriving at this so-called identity theft, the MP distorts the information on the registration documents by taking the taxpayer ID number 86-3859197 Appendix 1 and disingenuously changes it to the Social Security number SSN 863-85-9197 belonging to a deceased named Jose Salgado. He then proceeds to accuse the National Cathedral of using the stolen identity of the deceased to register. And then they say, for the record, the taxpayer, and it's on your screen right now, I am at point 4. For the record, the taxpayer ID number is issued for corporations and is separated by one dash, to wit, 86-385917. This taxpayer ID number is derived from the Employment Identification Number, which is the EIN, which is applied for as a first step in the application for a tax-exempt status. Now, the Social Security number, on the other hand, which is SSN, is issued to individuals and is separated by two dashes, to wit, 863-85-9197. Even if the numbers are the same because of the dashes, they mean different things. Thus, the taxpayer ID is not the same as the Social Security number. And they're saying that this is a distortion by the MP. We'll try and raise him on the line to find out what he makes of this. But Alfred, I mean, the accusations keep coming. The exposés keep coming. I've heard from people on the MPP side who are saying that he was even wrong to have gone on social media in the first place to put out some of these statements. But when it comes to the National Cathedral, even at the time when we're told that we'll not be using the taxpayers' money to build the cathedral, we were told that there was some amount of money that was withdrawn from, government funds just to invest in that. So is it not right then that if he's discovered something as dire as this, he would run to, of course, public to inform us of what exactly is happening? Alfred?
Yeah, I'm coming. You made a point, so I just wanted to read the taxpayers' money. Okay,
let me just speak to Honorable Sam Okudjeto Ablakwa. He's on the phone at the moment. He's the MP for North Tongue, and he's also the ranking member of the Foreign Affairs Committee. Good morning, Honorable. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, good morning, Bella.
I hope you're doing well.
It's a pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you so much. Now, first of all, I'm sure that you've come across the second statement that was released by the National Secretariat addressing the issue about identity theft based on the expose that you put out. They said what you put out was actually a distortion. What do you say to that?
Well, good morning to you, the panel, and to all your distinguished viewers. I have seen that statement, and it is very consistent with this National Cathedral Secretariat. They always rush to issue denials and claim that others are distorting the facts. But it always turns out to be one of the many fabrications they have engaged in. I want to state for the record that I stand by everything I put out in the expose. If you are conversant with operations of charity organizations or tax-exempt organizations, to qualify to receive an EIN, an employer identification number, you need a social security number. One of the promoters must present their social security number. Indeed, if you read the May 2nd statement of the Cathedral Secretariat signed by Dr. Opoku Mensah, he made this point and added that one of the considerations for engaging those individuals in the United States of America who were not part of those who incorporated the National Cathedral of Ghana in Ghana, I refer to Eric Okudjeto and Dr. Vernon Dako, is that they needed them to provide the legal documentation for a social security number. It's right in there in the statement that they issued as the first rebuttal. So I have it on authority, and indeed I have engaged IRS officials. There is no equivocation at all. I am not shifting my position. I know for a fact that the social security number they used to get their EIN was obtained through identity theft. There was clearly fraudulent conduct on whoever masterminded this process. And I can assure you that the U.S. authorities have commenced investigations. And the social security number they used is for a deceased person, a Hispanic, Jose Luis Salgado, who passed in 2014. So I stand by the revelations that I made. Look, what I must really emphasize is that these investigations are not just a one-man job. If you have followed the investigations keenly, you'll notice that I have access to enormous documentation, which you cannot just secure through open source. You must have some insiders. You must have people who are officials who are seized with that information or that documentation, and they have either asked that I apply for them, which I have and have secured. I have certified true copies with signatures of those who issued them. For example, the Secretary of State of Illinois, of Oklahoma, and of Washington, D.C. have certified all the documents that I have. Then there are the security reports, which are the team of investigators led by the private investigators who are supporting this effort, who have also presented us a stash of security documents, police reports. So, I mean, this is painstaking work, and we are not just putting out, if you like, matters from from a fertile imagination. This is evidential. This is fact, and we are putting out nothing but unimpeachable evidence.
Now, talking about the facts and unimpeachable evidence, you also did say in your expose that that government incorporated the National Cathedral in 2 other states beyond the state that they had initially mentioned. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yes, I can confirm to you that hitherto, all of what we have been told, both in Parliament and by way of general public information, is that they have registered one office in Washington, D.C. You remember that same office where I went, and there really is no office. Now there are contradictory claims. Eric Okudjeto has granted an interview which was published by Ghana over the weekend, saying that they have never paid for any office and that I shouldn't have come looking for offices. Meanwhile, they have advertised on their website that they have an office. Dr. Poku Mensah has issued a statement saying that they have an office which is a holding place, except that up to now they have not been able to tell us the specific suite number of the specific office. So that 1090 Vermont Avenue in Washington, D.C., they put up that address. And there you have it. Once again, they are contradicting themselves for providing conflicting accounts. But I have now confirmed that beyond Washington, D.C., they are also actively operating in the states of Illinois and Oklahoma. And interestingly, under Oklahoma law, they are supposed to renew every year, and they must provide how much they raised the previous year. And that is how come, going through the Oklahoma documents, we know that they raised $63,000 in the state of Oklahoma. The question is, how come this amount raised has never been disclosed to us in Parliament. It's not in any of the documents. They have never disclosed it to the Ghanaian people, and they have also not accounted for how much has been raised from all the other places. Now, what is even more troubling about these discoveries is that you will recall that in their first rebuttal to me, they said that the Washington, D.C. registration was just an interim measure. You remember that?
Yes.
They said it was interim and that it preceded the January 6, 2022 advice of the Attorney General. So they gave the impression that after January 6, 2022, they will do the right thing. They will now reconstitute the governing board, include the clergy, all these eminent priests, Bishop Duncan Williams, Reverend Sudana.
Well, they said they may.
And all the others who have been left out.
Yeah.
But when you pay close regard, paying attention to the documents I have produced from Illinois and Oklahoma, you notice that they registered these entities, these National Cathedral branches, if you like, way after the January 6, 2022 advice of the Attorney General. So in Illinois, you notice that it was sometime in December. In Oklahoma, it was in September that year. So many months after the advice of the Attorney General, they were still violating, if you like, the admonition of the Attorney General that they should do the right thing. This is no longer a private entity. It's you are working for Ghana. And so make sure you align properly as the law requires. But they have clearly continued to violate the Attorney General's advice. And you notice that so far, even our 2 diplomatic missions, there is no rule. Look,
you did mention that.
A Ghana project. Yes, it's a Ghana project. How come the ambassador based in Washington, D.C. and our UN permanent representative in New York, we have 2 missions in the United States of America and addresses, staff of these embassies. And yet, there is no attempt to include them to involve them in a national project.
Well, Anna, but we know that you have another expose. Yes, we know you have another expose later this morning. I'm sure we're waiting for those details to be brought out. But
I have actually put it out.
We'll go and check them then.
A few minutes ago at about 7. And
what is in this? What is in this new expose, by the way, if I may ask briefly, so we can wrap up?
Yes, this new expose reveals that they have violated the U.S. law requiring that they file their tax returns every year. Would you believe that since they registered all of these entities, they have not once filed their tax returns? Last Saturday on News for Dr. Poku Mensah tried to suggest that they have complied. I have put out all the evidence today that they have never complied. And by next year at this rate, their tax exempt status will be revoked because that is the punishment under U.S. law. I put out all the evidence. And it just tells you see, the lack of transparency, they don't want to account. They don't want us to know how much they are being raised. And you see, this is the lost temple. Well, if these people were building for the devil, I don't know what they will do.
Thank you, Honorable. Thank you so much for speaking to us this morning. Honorable Sam Okudjeto Ablakwa, and he says that he's put out his 4th expose. Maybe after this you can go and check it out. But he says he's touched on some of those things. But again, the issue about putting all these on social media, why are NPP communicators running with that tangent when clearly Ghanaians have stated an interest in this because our monies are also involved in the foundation that we see?
Good morning, Bella. Good morning, Eduji. Good morning to all the viewers, and a special good morning to my people of Central Region. Bella, we've heard a lot from Okudjeto. I wrote various things, but it just keeps on mingling and dangling all over. Let's put our mind to 2008. What happened around President Kufuor's exit? You remember the name came and it was all over, Giselle Yazi and the twins that never appeared in Ghana. Today is the Cathedral and all the corrupt things against the Cathedral. You see that there's a modus operandi of the NDC just to paint everything that Nana Akufo-Addo is doing as corrupt.
How so?
Now, you tell me that you go and do this, and then the cathedral is in the hands of trustees, isn't it? But everything that happens within the cathedral and its trustees are blamed on the government. Government has done that, government has done this. Government has gone to open an account, government has gone to create a fake identity, government has done, everything is about. But so what are the trustees doing? The trustees keep on telling you that, listen, if you have any information, bring it. At least you've gone to investigate something. Ask them questions. That I've done A, B, C, D, E, F. What is your take on that? If you are even doing investigative journalism, that's what you do. If you are doing investigative MPship on Cathedral, that is what you have to do. Bishop Cathedral should know this by now.
Who is Bishop Cathedral?
Okudjeto Ablakwa.
That's what you call him now?
But he's Bishop Cathedral. Now, Cathedral is his baby. First, he used to be Baby Jet. Now he's Bishop Cathedral.
Baby Jet is a Samoajan, though.
But you remember they started calling him Baby Jet because he was everything about presidential jet was Okudjeto. Now it's not presidential jet again, but Cathedral. So it tells you that he's on a mission just to make sure that let's paint the government black. I ask simple questions. You've come out. You've gotten information. Who are in charge of the cathedral? What do I ask them? Nothing. But I come and throw things on social media. That is where my colleagues will ask you that. Why is social media the response to your this thing? Send them the information. I've got this information. What is your response to it? Because I need, as a Ghanaian, I need some answers. If they cannot give you a response, and now you are putting it on social media that, oh, I sent them this, questions, they haven't been able to respond to, let us all ask these questions. That's a different thing. But every single step you take, then you go and write on your this thing. But meanwhile, you are in Parliament.
Alfred,
You're in Parliament.
Let's go back.
You get most of this information from Parliament.
Absolutely, but
So
we saw the Professor Frimfo Manso report where he said that even at times when he needed to complain about certain things, he went to the president to tell him about, the former forestry boss.
Which Frimpong Boateng, you are talking about.
Pardon me. I was thinking about something
we'll come
else.
to that.
But he said that he informed the president about some of these things, even Gabriel Tredako. He told the president that take action on this man because of certain decisions that he was making in defending some of these companies that were involved in Galamsey. The president did not act on it. And so how can he then trust? No, but how can he then trust that if he goes to ask these questions, he would even get the response that he will get?
How can who trust?
Well, you've named him Bishop. Yeah, Bishop Cathedral.
Or Bishop Cathedral.
Well, the
Bishop
name you've
Cathedral,
given him.
I didn't say you should go and ask the president. I said go and ask the trustees.
No, but my point is that there have been instances where questions have been asked and nothing has been done about the situation.
Ask and let them say that they won't tell you. Then bring it out. That is when you bring it out. But if you haven't, you've got a one-sided information. And the people who you claim are the culprits. He's a lawyer. He knows that. The people you claim are the people running this dubious cathedral deal and they want to chop money or do chop or whatever it is. You don't ask them anything about it, but you just come and throw dust into our eyes that this is what I've discovered. So the people come and respond and say that, listen, seek clarification because A, B, C, D that you wrote is not true. This is how it is. You say no, yours
everything
is right.
You wrote is not true?
Oh.
Because if you look at the Secretariat's response, even in the first one, they've not been able to confirm if really that office at Washington, D.C. houses, the Office for National Cathedral or not. All those details have not been given.
So that will be responded by the Secretariat.
Yeah, but they didn't even respond the first time when that expose came out.
You see, if every time you are going to, like he's told you about this fourth expose, when he talked about what?
Taxes.
I said, so why couldn't he add it to the so-called third expose that he said he had? Why should it be every, when he even goes there and he sees that maybe there was Gary on the floor, he come and say it's a fifth expose. That's what he's going to do.
But you don't determine how he comes out with his information.
Bella, you've gone for a particular trip. You've gathered information on everything. Then you say that, I'm going to do it, in bits. And the second bit you brought is nothing so unique against the first one. Because everything he's talking about, all these tax and everything, it comes back to all these social security, this and that he was talking about, which they've responded accordingly. So
there was no issue of identity theft? Because he said that even to get the EIN, you still need your social security number.
Yes.
Now, in this case, then we asked that what social security number was used to get the EIN.
You realize that when he was talking, and he talked about Oklahoma and the tax issues, he never told you that maybe in Washington, they also have these tax returns that you have to file. In US, every state and how they operate. So I would not sit here and tell you that I know on authority that maybe he went to this particular state and this is how they operate. Maybe they only need, the social security before they can do the EIN. And then he went there and he says that ABCD. I cannot say on authority. The people who can say that have come out to respond that what you said was half truth.
Half truth. So what's the other side of the truth? Because they only responded to the fact that there's a difference, clear distinction between the social security number and the employment identification number. But if he's come out now to say that even to get the EIN, you still need a social security number. They have not responded then that how they got the EIN in the first place.
From which of the states? Which of the states did you do that investigation? And which one came out to tell you that maybe you have to get this before you get that, or you have to get that before you get that? I don't know about it. I haven't worked in the US, so I wouldn't know whether I have to get an SS number before I get an EIN and all these things. I don't know.
But we should be educated in this case with this statement.
I studied and worked, so I wouldn't know. But what I'm stating is that when you find information, or when you go and seek information or clarification from outside, the best and most sensible and most fastest thing you have to do is to go to the people involved and tell them that you write to them. You can even publish the letter you've written. That I went here, I found A, B, C, D, E, F. I need clarification on this. You don't go and sit down and expect responses from social media by throwing everything on social media to show that you are the bishop and you know the best thing. I don't think the trustees there who are religious people will go out of their way just to go and chop money. They don't need that type of money. I don't think they sitting there will want to paint their names or taint themselves by getting some money and deciding that no, instead of building the cathedral, we want to do something else.
So why has Parliament not been carried along with all these decisions that have been made?
Has he even sent this to Parliament for
Parliament? He said he filed a motion.
Parliament to call the trustees of the cathedral to come and respond to it. These are the processes that you should have taken. But not going on social media and throwing dust in everyone's eyes. You see, so it tells you straight away that their modus operandi for just coming into power is working. That is all they are doing. Paint Nana Akufo-Addo as a corrupt person. Paint Nana Akufo-Addo that they do not go and get the social security number well. Paint Nana Akufo-Addo that he's the bad person. And let us let Ghanaians know that MPP is not a good government, so they should kick them out. That is all he wants to do.
Okay.
And I don't think it helps in governance. Because when you don't speak the truth about whatever you are doing, it wouldn't take us anywhere.
Lawyer, I'll bring you in shortly. But we just had to bring Honorable Sam Okudjeto Ablakwa back on the line to find out, first of all, if he got in touch with the National Secretariat when he made these discoveries before going on social media. Honorable, can you respond to this?
Yes, thank you very much. It is important to emphasize that we have engaged with the National Cathedral Secretariat on a good number of occasions. Okay. Indeed, it is the National Cathedral's own documents that made me decide to go to the United States on this fact-finding mission. Because in November 2022, when they came before us to seek approval for the 80 million allocation in the 2023 budget, if you recall, you remember there was a lot of hue and cry, a lot of pressure, agitation, before they will stop the violation of Article 178, withdrawing funds without parliamentary approval. Finally, they decided to do the right thing in the 2023 budget. So in November last year, when they came for approval, we asked them to let us have details of how much the 339 million Ghana cedis withdrawn unconstitutionally so far has been, the breakdown of the expenditure of that 339 million.
But after you discovered...
It is that breakdown when I discovered that Carrie Lee Summers, the U.S. consultant, has been paid $6 million. They say they have an office in Washington, D.C. They have U.S. operations. That is what then made me decide that I will go to the United States. Because that's what MPs do. MPs do verification.
After all the discoveries, what I want to find out is when you came back to Ghana, did you present some of these facts to the National Secretariat to question them on the discoveries you made before coming on social media?
Nothing in our standing orders requires me to do that. You see, I have heard them. I have received their documents. I must now do my verification, my due diligence. That is our duty as MPs. There have been instances where I have contacted them. For example, when I gleaned information that they are carrying out a violation and David Ajay is being paid some money. I contacted Dr. Poku Mensah, will confirm to you that I contacted him that, look, this is what I'm picking up. and then he confirmed it with documents. Okay. So where there is any, if you like, lack of clarity or vagueness, I do contact them. But this one, I have already heard from them. I have their documents. They have made certain claims. Back to them. And I am verifying. I'm doing due diligence. Okay. And I have gone to, I mean, what do I should call them and say what? I went to your address in America and I found out that you lied to us.
Maybe just to get a response, because they're saying that you are engaged in a social media war, which they don't want to engage in. But thank you for that clarification, Honorable.
Look, let's be clear. We are public officials. The people have the right to know. Whether it's social media, whether it's traditional media, it's irrelevant. There has to be transparency.
All right. Thank you so much.
For good governance, you must always be public and democratic. And let me finally say that I have already filed a motion, remember, which has been admitted by the Speaker of Parliament. And we will soon be having a full-scale parliamentary inquiry. So it's not as though I'm only active on social media. I've also been very active in Parliament. Raising these issues.
But you say you funded.
I raised them on the floor of Parliament.
But you say you funded this trip with your own salary and not, by Parliament, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for speaking to us again.